listening to the Doing Motherhood podcast, where we talk all things Black mothers today. What's the goings on, y'all? So if you were tuned in last week, then you know I dropped an announcement about my new hospital doula training company. It's called Hospital Doula Training Co. And the mission of Hospital Doula Training Co. is to train doulas who are equipped with the knowledge of U.S. hospital systems and healthcare systems, so that in addition to the traditional doula training that they provide for the families they serve, they're also serving as patient navigators, helping those families become better healthcare consumers. So if you're interested in training as a doula, please look at our website, www.hospitaldoulatrainingco.com. You can also find more information on Instagram at Hospital Doula Training Co. So that's what's going on today. As always, we appreciate you listening. We appreciate you sharing the podcast. You can listen to this podcast on all major podcasting platforms. You can also watch the podcast if you prefer on YouTube. We would greatly appreciate your feedback. So leave us a review and some stars, and we thank you for your effort. All right, it is time for the 411, and today we are talking about womanships. And I'm talking about womanships with my friend and colleague, midwife Frances Jones Coleman. Frances is a wife and mother of 3 children, and she works as a midwife in the Houston area. She understands the intricate dynamics of family and the role it plays in childbirth. Over the past 12 years, her focus has always been on improving women's health. She has worked as an educator with nonprofit and grassroots organizations, created programs, and educated new families. Hi, Frances. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
I'm excited too and this is why I'm really excited, because most of the time when we're talking, we're always talking about childbirth and babies and doula work and, all of that stuff. And so I wanted this to be an opportunity for us to talk about not those things.
Yeah, which is always nice.
Yes.
Because they consume our life so much. So it's nice.
Much.
Yeah.
And we've got to let that go sometimes.
Yes.
So today we're talking about the topic of womanships. And the reason that womanships comes up, well, first I want to say this is Frances's coined term.
Which I didn't know that. I just was talking, running my mouth. And I do that really well. So when she said that, I was like, oh, did I say that? Very good. Okay. Let's run with it.
So help our listener friends understand, when you did drop that word, which I think is brilliant, what were you thinking about? What is a womanship to you?
Yeah. So it came about because I was at a event. I guess it's an event. I was at like this beer garden with some friends of my husband's. They're all married and us ladies were hanging out. And we were just all talking. Mm-hmm. And it felt good. One woman in particular, we kind of, every time we're together, we have really good conversation. And like, I really don't know her, but every time we're together, we have really good conversation. And we just started talking about like, it would be nice if we could have like Black girlfriends that like did what we're doing right now without a lot of, I don't want to say responsibility, but with like not a lot of attachment. Like I don't have to be like, oh, I'll call you tomorrow. We'll hang out next weekend. Right. Like it has to be all that. It's just like, we're being real in this moment together. And I'm not judging her. I'm not assuming things about her. I'm just,
we're showing up in the space, in the moment, being present and enjoying each other's company for what it is.
And being real. Like there's no cover. Mm-hmm. There's no veil. There's nothing that you need to look through or kind of be like, oh, is she going to tell? Like, it's just, we're being really real at a beer garden. Mm-hmm. Just me and her chatting it down about what? I don't know, but just about things. Mm-hmm. And it was really, it's always very refreshing. And to show up sometimes to events and you're like,
because you don't know what's going to go down.
Yeah. And then you can already tell folks are looking at you. You got to go sit down. It's just like, I don't want to do that. And every time we're together, it's like, wow. And we're not together often, but it's nice when we are. Mm-hmm. And we say the typical, oh, we should do lunch. We should hang out. We do all of those things, but we don't ever do that outside of these moments, which I think I'm okay with. It doesn't bother me because I also am not looking to have Am I allowed to say cuss words?
Yes.
Okay. I also am not looking to have a shit ton of friends either that I have to be responsible for. I just want to know that when I go places and there's going to be some familiar people, oh, homegirl gonna be there. It's gonna be nice.
Have a good time.
We're gonna have a good time, even if it's just me and her in the corner, cackling, right? And not even about other people, just together. It's what you doing. Yeah,
I think that's an important point. How much do you think our age has to do with it? You know, because it's like in our 20s and 30s, maybe the early 30s, I'll say 20s to early 30s, it was like your party and bullshit friends, right? It was like, who's willing to go out? Who can we get into some shenanigans with, right? And so we're at a point now where we have families, we're running households, we're working and doing all of these other things. The real responsibilities that we have in life. So how much do you think that age factor plays into that?
1,000%. Well, and I think the older you get, you should be doing these things. You should be self-assessing, right? Like, I know that I go to therapy twice a month and it's life-changing, right? You start to realize, oh, this is who I am. I've always been this way. I've been making concessions for other people. Like, I need to start showing up for myself. And I think when you start showing up for yourself and not making like excuses for who you are, the right people come to you, right? And you can be real with real people. And then you can also see fake people, right? Like you can see, like, that's this bitch. Here come she come. Look, but we gonna just, hey girl, hey, wonderful. But no, like, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to know, like, you can see some shit coming and be like, oh, okay, I know what I need to put on.
Exactly.
But I'm not gonna sit down and be doing all that with what I can see. But when you can't see, you do get involved in bullshit and chaos and smoke, you know, and mirrors. And you're like, oh, I didn't know she was my friend. Bitch, you didn't know she was your friend. I could have told you. I met her and was like, oh, she's nice, but she may not be for me. Right. And so I know I will be 40 in November.
Yeah. Happy early birthday.
Thank you. It's really crazy. Nice. And I think, I don't know. I told you this other day when I went off about my pedicure. Yeah, I deserve better.
Hey.
Right? Like, I deserve good. And I deserve good friendships. And they don't gotta be, I'm not looking for a best friend. Like, I have one and she's amazing. I'm not looking for a best friend. I'm just looking for another queen, another bitch, however you wanna, you know, whatever, to be, we finna go drink, cackalack. This was wonderful. I'll see you next time.
You know that TikTok that's going around, and I don't know who I'm looking for some bitches I can hang with.
So what's a gang?
Tell me, gang shit. Look, we don't know it yet. Exactly. Every now and again, we want to be able to get out, have those conversations, but showing up for each other. And I think that that's one of the things for me that has come up over the years, is that I've started to realize some of my friendships, I was doing a lot of the showing up, and that was what was sustaining the friendship. And now, you know, I'm learning that I have to, it's not always about what the other person is doing.
Correct.
Right? Usually it's not about what the other person is doing. And so one of the things that I had to assess in my friendships is, if I'm always the first to jump and the first to show up, where do other people have the opportunity to do that for myself, right? And I think that's also one of the things that we start to understand in these, like, that to me is what a womanship is. When each individual is taking account of what their own role, their own responsibility, how they're choosing to show up, right? Maintaining the boundaries that we need to maintain. But also, when we do show up and when we do come together, that authentic piece that you talked about earlier.
And it's safe.
So important.
It's safe.
Say it.
Like, it's safe.
Safe words.
Safe. It's safe too, ladies. Okay.
Right.
Like, you're not having these relationships so that you can then go tell a mutual person about what you did. That's not the purpose of this.
We're not doing housewives friendships.
We're just not.
I'm
not interested.
We're not doing, we go to brunch and then I go to lunch with the next one and talk about what we talked about at brunch.
We don't have time for that. Like,
so at dinner, we can attack everybody at the table.
It's really draining. Like, and if you're doing that, like, seriously, like, what are you doing in your life? Like, it's just not enough time in a fucking day for that. Like, even if you're a single mom, even if you're married with, like, what, there's other shit to do. Like, I'm trying to remember, oh, I'm supposed to go pick up the kids today. Okay, I forgot. I got to sign them up for this. Oh yeah, my husband asked me for some shit. Like, you know, I don't have time to be trying to, oh my God, did you hear what's her name said? I didn't know she said that, did she? Oh, very good. Well, I have to mind my business. And so these types of, and I guess friendship, I don't want to say friendship because friendship seems so young and, you know, oh, I have a new friend. She's my friend. It's like, this is a woman that I know that I respect and that I admire and that I like spending some time with. And we don't got to spend time together all the fucking time. But because I respect, like, you busy.
There are no resentments built in there.
And I don't have a lot of like, oh, she needs to meet me here because I'm not looking for that for her. You know, when I hang out with Anya, I know we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna lay back. We're gonna talk a little bit about Burr. We're gonna talk a little bit about life. And that's what we're doing. Exactly. And so it's not, the responsibility that I have for her is not a strong one and that is not a diss. That is just like understanding like how I'm showing up for you too, like how I'm coming to the table. I'm coming to the table as an ally. I'm coming to the table as another woman, a Black woman, an entrepreneur, you know, we're all in different stages, but like you're a woman and I'm a woman and we're sharing commonalities. And I think that's important to know, and that she's a safe woman for me to reach out to. This is not my friend that has to be nice to me, that has to come to things that I invite her to, that has to like, that is not what this is. This is just, when I see Anya, I'm like, oh yes.
My girl gonna be here. Because we got invited to a birthday party for mutual friends, but we didn't know. No. That was so funny because we didn't know if the other one of us was gonna be there. So both of us were kind of like, I don't know if she got the invite. But then when we saw each other, we were like, hey girl.
When I pulled up, I was like, she's here. Okay, I can relax. Because again, she is a person of safety. She's another woman.
I think it's important to say what safe means. And I think you hit on some of that. But I know for myself, the first thing I think of in safe is that it's a non-judgmental space. And that the people that I'm sitting down with and sharing my time with, because my time is valuable. Once you hit 40, you realize, I mean, before that, you know the value of time, but at 40, like something switches and you're just like, I got this much time and there's only so many people.
And you start living for yourself, I think. I think you stop trying to live for your children, live for your husband, live for your colleagues. Like you're really like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing with myself. And I have to show up for myself, y'all, to show up for others. It's like, I don't know whoever made the rules for you to fly on the airplane, but they're really right. I mean, you need to put the mask on. And we're out here trying to put the mask on other people and save people that don't need to be saved. They have to put their own fucking mask on, and you need to read the manual yourself. And we're not doing that, ladies. We're out here trying to save hoes and bitches, men and our kids. Look,
grown children.
And I'm not saying you should be trying to save your kids, but grown kids, right? Like we have got to put the mask on and read our own fucking manual. We're not doing that. And then we're mad. And then we're getting in these womanships, friendships that are bullshit, that are not you trying to save your friend. That's where she want to be.
And so much of that is, like you said, when if we're showing up to places and to people that where we feel like we might be judged, you're not showing up as an authentic person. They're probably not, because you don't seem authentic and genuine. Like, so then there's all that twisty stuff that gets in. And, you know, when it comes back to the time and the safety factor, like, I don't want to filter through other people's bullshit. I don't want to have to be calculated and what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it
and how they're going to take it.
How are they going to take it and trying to do all this managing. That's what you mean when you say the responsibility. Like, we don't have to do all of that work. It shouldn't take so much work. I called her just
yesterday and was like, so I know it's early, but I just want to vent and I just need you to tell me if I'm wrong. Right? Like, if I'm wrong, I'm going to get my shit together and move forward. But if I'm not wrong, I just need you to let me like sit in that for a little bit and complain. And then I'm going to move on about my day. And that's it. And she was like, you're not wrong. Okay, very good. I was like, what the fuck? Right? But she helped me through that. Like, it was nice, right? And I like to put some caveats on judgment because people throw that, oh, she's judging me. She's not fucking judging you. She may be telling you the truth. You just don't want to hear the truth, right? Sometimes you just have to know that too. Like, judgment, people use that word and it's like, but that doesn't sound like judgment. You told her that, right? She just told you what you didn't want to hear. Judging, I think, is when like you just said, you're coming to the table not in your authentic self.
Right.
So then you're perceiving everybody else's reactions to you as judgments when they're not. Right? They're not. Because it could be somebody like me and Anya. I just see you, but you don't see yourself. So you're like, oh, they're judging me. They don't. No.
You better preach your
and
word.
Everybody's not a hater. I get sick of that shit too. Everybody's not a hater. Everybody's not a fucking hater. Oh my God. I'm like, am I? I don't have time for shit. Like, my space and my time is very valuable.
I think that gets into conversations of like self-worth as well, right? Because there's that saying that like if you're always looking outside or if you're always watching what other people are doing or thinking about what other people are thinking, like then you're not tending to yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you have these ideas that other people are sending you messages, and really what that is are projections of your own.
Hello, say it again.
That invisible they that people constantly talk about.
It's just not. Like, honestly, what you need to be worried about is the system and how you interface with the system.
Right.
Like, I'm like, I don't know. I guess the longer you do the work that we do and the longer you support families and people, you really you start to see, humans, we're really not that complicated. And so, it's one of those things. It's just like, how am I showing up for myself and what's my truth? And my truth don't have to match everybody else's truth. But I think we get, oh, they hating on me. They trying to keep me down. Ain't nobody, who keeping you down is you. And I'm not even talking about, that whole, pull myself up by my bootstraps. I'm not talking about that because that's bullshit. But what I'm talking about is what efforts are you making, right? Like how, but again, it's all about who you surround yourself with. And I think that's an age-old thing too. It's just like the people you surround yourself with also help your outlook, right? And if you can have people that can be honest and truthful to you, that also changes your outlook and your perception of who you are in space.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're not doing self-reflection and things of that nature, it's hard you're always looking for the next book. You're always looking how to get rich. You're not looking how to be rich and fulfillment within yourself, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I'm looking for real women who want to hang out, have fun, who want to drink, who want to, do things. And if you don't want to do those things, I'm okay with that too. I don't judge you.
All that extraness.
Yeah.
What do you say, going back to that we do take care of women during one of the biggest transitions in their lives, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Becoming a mother, that whole becoming, if they're getting married first, but even if you're not getting married first, right? Just that transition of becoming someone's wife, becoming a mother. And so all these additional roles you're picking up, how do you see that? How does that affect women when they're making those transitions in terms of their friendships?
Well, you lose some.
Say it. We just have to know that. Like, you just have to know that everybody, like, we're not supposed to collect people and friends like baseball cards and silver dollars, right?
You're not.
We should not.
Yeah, you totally lose some, and you should. My best friend will tell you. that there is a season for everything. And everybody's season, sometimes you don't make it through a full season with some people. You may go through many seasons with some people. However, you will lose friends, and you should, because your life is changing, and so should the people that you surround yourself with, right? When you become a wife, you can't have a shit ton of single friends. I mean, it just doesn't work like that, unfortunately. And when you become a mother, you also can't have a lot of friends who don't have children because they don't fucking understand. And guess what? You shouldn't make apologies for being like, I have kids. Like, I can't fucking do that shit anymore.
Right.
And single friends should be like, you know what? Save your friend. I know I had, with my first, I struggled with that, with turning into a mother and not being able to do happy hour and hang out and all that. Like, I struggled. And then I was like, well, bitch, you the one that wanted kids. I mean, it's just like, that ain't your friend's fault. Like, stop being mad at people for not inviting you. Like, you can't go. Yeah. Like, I can't go. And once I realized, like, it took me a few months to pull it together. But
that's and give yourself that time. Like, I think it's important that we have grace with ourselves, right? So that it's going to take you some time to figure that out. Like, initially you're going to feel one way about it, and you might be upset with your friends who stop inviting you places. But the important thing again is that self-evaluation and being able to come back to yourself and say, but you know what? That really ain't the place for me to be.
I got a baby.
I'm nursing a baby.
I mean, And then you be that mama that don't want to leave your kids with nobody. So how you going? And then mamas, don't be asking people if you can bring your baby to an adult event. It's inappropriate. Okay. I mean, it's just, I understand you love your baby so much and you want your baby to experience things, but other people don't want to experience your baby. And that's okay. And they have that right because they don't have kids. So that's why they doing what they doing. But you know, certain things are just not appropriate for your baby to participate in, and that's okay. It's hard, but don't ask people who invite just you and your husband somewhere if you can bring your kid.
Yeah. And I think that's also, that speaks to the preparation that we're making, right? So we're, you know, when we become pregnant, then we have to start looking at, okay, what's life going to look like from here, right? And who are the people now that fit where I am in my life, right? And so your friends probably not, or they're probably not going to be the single people that you went to fine dining restaurants with, right? At least not in that moment. It becomes, now you're spending Saturday mornings at, you know, Mommy and Me yoga, and you're making your new mommy friends there.
Yes, and I tell all my clients, you need mommy friends. Mommy friends 100%. Are life-saving. You need mommy friends. They don't have to be BFFs. They don't have to be any of those people, but they are people in this stage of your life that you need because they're going through the same thing as you. Because your single girlfriend, she don't know, she's still asleep at 12 o'clock in the day. Like, you've been up since 7. I mean, shit, you know. So you need mommy friends, and you just have to get out there and do. You know, you used to get out there and be like, oh my God, I'm gonna take my baby to the zoo. I hate going to the zoo, y'all. I don't want to go to the zoo. I don't want to see animals caged in a thing. But, you know, guess where you meet people? At the zoo. Okay? You meet folks at the zoo. The kids is running around. Your kids is talking to their kids. I don't want to go to the children's museum either. I'm not interested in any of those things. But I do those things because I have to have adult interaction as well. And I cannot do that with twins that are, you know, 6 months old. I need another mom to bitch and complain about motherhood with. And my single friends don't want to hear that shit. Right? They're just like, well, you're the one that got pregnant and had kids. If you didn't want that, you know where to go.
I mean, we certainly don't want to hear about it. No. Like today.
I'm like, I'm tired. Why is she calling me about these fucking kids again? I mean, I like your kids, but I mean, and that's reality, y'all. Like, don't be like, oh my God, I can't believe you're saying that. I mean, that's true. We all feel that, and it's real, and it's okay. Like, some things are just what they are. Yeah. Just like when you get married, you have to have married friends. Like, you do. You have to have married friends to do married things with. Like, it's just part of it. I mean,
I remember one of the friendships, the first friendship that I lost because of my transition into motherhood was a really good friend that I had in high school. And in high school, we were both a lot more mature than our peers. Okay. And so we connected on that. I was already, I'd had my oldest son when I was in high school, and she didn't have children, but she had other, you know, experiences that made her be a little bit more mature. But then once I got married and I had my second son, and, life just completely changes over.
Mm-hmm.
She was one of those friends that I was always on the phone with. You're just always walking around with the phone on your ear. It's like, why were we doing so much talking in our 20s, right?
Yeah.
Always walking around with the phone on your ear. And then it got to a point where it was like, okay, now I have 2 children. Now I'm managing a household. And she didn't understand that transition in my life,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is what I'm talking about like understanding where you are.
Yeah.
And being honest with yourself about where you are.
Yep.
Because in that moment, I could have just let it turn ugly. Well, I ain't got time and you but I had to say to her, this is where I am.
Yeah.
And I just don't have that space and that time to be on the phone as much anymore. And what I offered was like I can give you the weekends, but 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. doesn't work in my life anymore.
And I'm
like
it just
what's real.
Like my best friend and I, and even becoming a midwife is such a lifestyle change that it's hard to be social. It's hard to keep dates with friends and husbands and things. And it's hard. And so I know my best friend and I really, we struggle because I didn't call as much. I'd forget things, things that were important to our friendship. And so, we had to have a good sit down. And she even validated, like, I know I'm probably being real selfish. I know this is hard. I know you can't, and we had to come to some resolve around, okay, what's the next best thing to move forward so that this friendship can sustain, my career.
Yeah.
Really, she's got kids, she's got a husband, and we have the same things, but I'm a midwife, right? And so we had to really kind of like, what's going to work for us, And so things are good now. But in that, when I first started getting into it, it was rough because I couldn't do anything. I was always tired. I'd forget. It was like, oh my God. I have a dear friend here in Houston. Same thing. Like, she's single and she's out to mingle. She gonna be hanging out with me all the time, and that's okay. And we have a good understanding too. And she's very gracious to me because, I kind of hadn't seen her in months, but we talk every now and then. And so, you need people who can provide that.
Is that communication piece. We have to be able to identify for ourselves and then be able to communicate
what it is,
where we are, what our needs are, and also what just won't be able to work. But at the same time, we have to understand that other person gets to choose
whether they say yes or no to those things.
Yes. Yep. And sometimes, and that's why we talked about, there are going to be friends who fall away because some people, the example that I gave a little while ago, she decided that did not work for her. When I said, I got the weekends for you because the week is just way too much and too hectic for me to have sit around and kind of bullshit type of conversations, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's the other side of it is knowing that the other person does get to choose and that we just have to be good with knowing.
That's it.
That's what it is.
That's
sometimes.
just what it is. It's on the table. It's very clear.
There doesn't have to be resentments. It doesn't have to be anything ugly. It's not to say that you'll never find a season again where you might come back together where it works.
My sister and I say this a lot, like validate your feelings. And it's okay if when the other person tells you, oh, that won't work for me. And you may not like that. And you may be like, that really pissed me off. I wasn't expecting that. That's okay. Validate your feelings. But that's also, you don't get to go then tell that person, I cannot believe you wouldn't. You told them this is the parameters and they basically told you, well, that doesn't work for me. You don't get to be mad at them.
Yeah.
You can validate that upset you and that their response maybe shocked you and you were like, oh my gosh. But it's probably, if anything, it should feel good. Okay, one less thing I have to manage. One less thing I have to think about. It's okay. And you wish that person well and it's going to be fine. There's no love lost. There's no bridges burned. It's just what it is.
Yeah. So we're coming down short on time. So I want to just ask you, we're going to both share what are the top, what are the top 3 traits that you're looking for in a womanship friend?
the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
What traits are important to you?
Trait. Okay, you need to want to have fun. Like, have a ton of fun. I just want to have fun. And I do like a little carefreeness, I think. Is that the same as have fun? I don't know.
No, I think there's a difference.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
I want you to have fun, carefree, and most importantly, I think a good trait is that you know who you are. And I don't know how you see that in people. I don't know that. But I do want a woman that's in my life to be sure of herself and that is carefree and we can have fun. I mean, we're getting old. It can't be serious all the fucking time. So, and I'm not looking for that because 90% of my life is that way, right? I'm a mother. I have 3 young children. I have a husband. You know, we have life to live. And so when I'm hanging out with women, I do want to be carefree. I want to have fun. I want to have conversations that are meaningful. And I do. I want to feel safe, you know, and I want you to feel those same things.
Yeah. I think for myself, what is the top 3 things that are important for me are the authenticity, that I can tell that, you know, as we're approaching one another, that I like to make sure I'm showing up as authentic. And I have to check myself on that all the time. But I also, there's kind of a knowing sometimes, right? I can't quite put my finger on it, but you, at least by this big age, we start to understand, right? You can kind of see it coming. You know who ain't on the straight and narrow. You know who ain't always on the up and up, right? So that's important to me. It's important to me to have friends who are ambitious and have some goals because like you said, like I've got a lot going on in my life. You need to have some stuff to do. Because I can't entertain you all the time.
Amen.
I can't pick up, you know, like I can't do things for you. I'm not the friend that people can rely on to like walk them through every single
I done
thing.
forgot. Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I can't do that. So I need friends who are like ambitious, they're go-getters because they also are just as busy as I am, right? Like we're kind of, we understand life in that way with one another. And then last for me is fun and adventure. I want friends that want to go places. I want friends who, you know, like to hang out. My really good friend is in town right now. Her name is Lakeisha. We have known each other for how many years, Keisha? 21? We met each other in the Army. And I mean, we spent the day yesterday hanging out by the pool, right? Hanging out by the pool.
Very nice.
Talking about the old stuff, talking about new dreams and aspirations.
Very nice.
And just kicked back, you know? Yeah. And she wants to travel. We talk about being Foxy 40, traveling, whoever.
All right, Foxy 40. I like Foxy 40, honey. Let's do it.
We going
Foxy
around
40.
the world, okay?
Yes.
But really showing up for that fun and that life. Like we got to get back to life is so serious. And we have to remember that inner child is still wanting to be a part of this experience. So well, I thank you, friend.
This was really nice. I mean, can I invite myself back?
You absolutely can. No,
this is great.
Rude.
And this microphone thing here, it's great.
You like that?
Yeah. Can we have a karaoke session? Okay, I'm doing
if LP does it for us.
I'm totally. I'm sorry. I'm just really getting ahead of myself. This is really. I mean, it's really nice. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for coming. As always, so good to see you.
Yes.